Hi, it's David Avrin with the Customer Experience Advantage podcast. You know, one of the biggest challenges of this new next or new normal is keeping pace with all of the new conveniences and the amenities offered by the biggest players in every category. So how can small business owners and others be expected to offer the online experience and the tracking resources of Amazon and FedEx and others? Well, my guest today is helping to pioneer technologies to help small businesses do just that. Irina Poddubnaia is the brilliant mind behind a new service that allows everyone to participate and effectively compete in the new next. It's David Avrin on the Customer Experience Advantage podcast, back in 20 seconds.
You're listening to the Customer Experience Advantage podcast with David Avrin, featuring candid conversations with some of the most influential leaders in business today. Sit back and listen in, or feel free to watch the video version online. This is the Customer Experience Advantage podcast, and here's David Avrin.
Hey, and thanks, and welcome to the podcast today. This is actually a really interesting subject. You know, when I talk to clients, and with my colleagues who talk to their clients as well, coming out of the of COVID and the new next or the new normal or the touchless tomorrow, whatever you want to call it, some of the biggest challenges are some of the amazing advancements that have been made, which are great for us as consumers, as customers, or patients, or constituents, or whatever we call the people that we serve. But it's a real challenge for other businesses who are trying to keep pace because, of course, it's changed the expectations. We, and the collective we as customers and clients, we have changed. And our expectations for access and immediacy and visibility into the process or the supply chain, all those things have changed and grown. And once again, and I always say as customers, it's awesome. I mean, our lives are great. I've said before, I have my groceries delivered. There's things that we used to be able to do just with FedEx or maybe our tow truck, be able to see the status of something. It has, in recent years, really been reserved to the biggest players who can afford these enterprise technologies that allow us to track that package. We know when something's going to arrive. In my house, something arrives multiple times every day. We had a day, I think 2 weeks ago, where we had no packages delivered from Amazon or anything else. And so we were checking the front porch. We were breaking out in a cold sweat. We're like, what happened? What's wrong? Can they not find us anymore? But I think there was actually a day that we didn't order anything, which was interesting. But it's a big challenge for smaller businesses because they're like, well, why can't you do this? Amazon can do it. So let me do a quick introduction for our guest here today. And I want to dig into how she and other brilliant people in the marketplace are helping with that customer experience, helping that online and user experience so that the smaller players can compete with their bigger ones as well. So Irina, and I'm going to, the last name I'm going to get it right again is Poddubnaia, is a software as a service or SaaS founder and a business consultant who specializes in performance enhancement and operations and process optimization. She has a wide range of experiences in e-commerce, from running a fulfillment center in China, literally. She lived there for 2.5 years, to launching her own software company, Mage, for package tracking that increases sales and customer retention by providing an outstanding post-purchase customer experience. And she's talking to me right now from Bulgaria, where she lives, and I'm here in just south of Denver, Colorado. Irina, thanks and welcome to the show.
Thank you, David. This was a fabulous introduction. It actually touched a lot of points. So I'm really excited to be here with you today and talk about my favorite topic, the customer experience. So yeah.
So, but talk to us. Well, first of all, tell us how you got started in all of this. You know, there's brilliant people all around the world, and most of the great innovations that we're seeing today are a response to a problem that needs to be solved. Tell me how you got into the business. Tell me a little about your background working in China and others as well, and then we'll delve into Mage and what we've come to expect in our customer experience.
Yeah, well, just to share a few key points that led me to where I am today. So it's all started in China because, like, when I was young and stupid, I just literally, I wanted to go on an adventure and travel the world. Instead, I went to China and started a business. So that's how it started. What
And
we
how old were you when you picked up and went to China?
Well, yeah, actually, I was 23 at the time, so
Wow.
I'm maybe like 10 years older now. So that gives me some credibility of saying that. So when I went to China, we were looking for an opportunity, and it was really like we had no expectations. We just thought that okay, a lot of people are selling products from China, so we are going to do the same thing. Yeah, and like it wasn't what we were expecting, but actually going to a foreign country where you don't speak the language and starting a business that you don't understand everything about was probably not a good idea just off the bat. But we didn't know that at the time, we just did it. So what we ended up with was the fulfillment center where we were servicing small retailers all over the world. They were ordering goods from Chinese suppliers and we were shipping them to their home country so that they can sell them in their retail stores. So that's how it all started. And I learned like a lot about logistics at that point because literally China is probably the best logistics hub you can imagine to learn this from because they are shipping like literally all over the world.
Sure.
And the volumes were only increasing over time. With COVID, I think they had some logistical challenges and supply chain challenges, but right now it's still getting back to that same level or even beyond that. So the thing is, when we were in China, and we were shipping those products, we were still dealing with all the things that typical e-commerce owners are dealing with. So the customers were asking where the packages were, and they literally needed to know when they are going to get their delivery. And it the steeper the volume, it was slowly getting inundating. Because literally every day I had to answer, and we had time zone difference, I had to answer those questions on social media at 2 a.m., at 3 a.m., when the customer is calling.
Well, yeah. and you become a victim of your own success. The more successful you are, the more packages you're shipping, the more incoming inquiries. And I can imagine that began to dominate your time, just responding.
Yes, like you actually... you have no idea how painful that is to remember because like I lliterally, when I wanted to start my own business, I wanted, I imagined like this beautiful success, like, I don't know, like cars, I don't know, like conferences, something that's flashy, like speaking maybe. But when I started this business, like it was like constant, like packages, shipping updates, cargo rates negotiation, and like supply chain issues, like everything that I wasn't imagining I should be doing, but I was. So yeah, at some point I realized, and with my team, we realized that we needed automation to deal with it, because like I cannot be like selling to the customers, being the solo customer service representative, packing the goods, and like dealing with all the things that are required. So what we developed was this system that actually did it automatically. It notified people, notified all the customers where all the packages were, when are they going to be delivered, if there are some issues with customs, for example. And what we've seen is that the retention of those customers, it was almost lifetime. So
right, because they were getting what they wanted. They understood when they were going to get it, and they didn't have the questions. Because here's the other thing that we know, and I think you discovered. And so many small businesses, our listeners and those who are viewing this on my website or YouTube channel, they can be bogged down with frustrated customers. They may have great products and services, but anything that their customers don't know or have to wonder or have to ask about, that frustration grows in their mind. So was in your mind, was it, can we not only lessen the burden on us as a company, but give some confidence to the customers so we've taken away their frustration?
Yes, because for us it was crucial. Because sometimes the customers, we were ordering through some escrow services like PayPal or other payment processors, and those guys who are ordering through an intermediary payment processor, they tend to like when they get anxious, they start to request refunds, and PayPal doesn't like that. And if there are a lot of refund requests on your account, there are some penalties that get imposed by PayPal. So that's what was a major concern of ours when we introduced this system, so that people can be at ease and they don't even have to ask about the packages status. They already know. Like it's the best customer experience when they already know and they don't have to ask. Yeah.
Well, sometimes the best problem is a problem that you never knew about because it was solved before it became a problem. Now, did you modify some off-the-shelf software? I mean, clearly others have been doing this, Amazon and Alibaba and others do things like this. Did you create it from scratch? And how have you been able to integrate with all of the other payment services to be able to give the end user, the buyer, a seamless experience?
Yeah, well, actually, we don't integrate with payment services, but we do integrate with shopping carts. That's where it is at. Because, for example, if the buyer just buys through WooCommerce or Shopify or other system, they have their order slip. But what tends to happen is either the company doesn't provide the tracking number altogether, and just the package arrives in some time at some point.
Right. And to clarify for others as well, and I know we're jumping ahead a little bit, but services like Etsy and Shopify, they're not shipping packages. They're just an intermediary for all of these craftspeople and people who are selling products. And so the company, if you bought a tabletop, for example, my desk I built off pieces I got on Etsy, that company is the one that ships them out. Right. And so small businesses and they don't have the resources to create their own tracking.
Well, actually, that's a very good point, because again, when you're starting your own business and when you're buying into this dream of like creating your e-commerce store, and that's going to be a breeze, everything is going to be automatic. That's not what happens. Like you actually have to negotiate with suppliers. You need to make sure that they have the stock, or if you are buying from some other source like AliExpress or other like common places where dropshippers are actually purchasing the inventory. So you have to take into the account that these guys are going to be a crucial piece of your business, and they need to provide you with the shipment tracking information that you can pass on to the customers. So that's how TrackMage comes into the picture, because it's this hub where you can invite your supplier inside of the system, and the supplier can actually update the shipment tracking statuses, actually not statuses, shipment tracking numbers for all those orders that your customers make through Shopify or WooCommerce or other shopping cart that you're using. So that's how it works.
No, I got that. So to clarify, is your business, is it more the B2B, the supply chain part of it, that helping them, or is it the B2C or the end consumer?
It's B2B because it's for the store owner. Like this is a tool that actually allows the store owner to regain their peace of mind. Remember that part of the story when I was telling, like, I wasn't signing up for that kind of
headache.
Headache with a business where I had to answer all those questions manually all the time. So I just had to create some system that is going to do it for me. And I'm quite frankly, like my preference is to delegate or automate. Most of the time. So that's why like automation came into the picture.
And tell me that, so when did you actually, so what you learned in the work that you did in China, tell me how you took that and said, you know what, we can bring this to others as well, because you developed it for yourself, correct?
Yes.
And now you realize that this is something that could benefit so many. Tell us about that journey.
So actually, it's quite a sad journey, I would say, because at some point we were dealing with economic crisis in the our like in the region where our major customers were living. We were dealing with that. So like our costs increased 2 times in China, and our profits, like they literally came to zero for a few months. So we had to close that business, but we closed it only physically. We were left with a system that we developed for ourselves. And then we decided that actually our people could benefit from the same system, because we're dealing with the same kind of challenge, where they are expecting goods. We need to keep track of all the suppliers that they are doing what they are supposed to be doing. And they need to handle all the customer support requests that are coming their way. So that's how we brought it to the market. And yeah, our first major customer that we actually wanted to help was Metal Family. They are creating a cartoon series on YouTube, and they have 1 million subscribers. So can you imagine, like when they release even just a keychain or something like, I don't know, a sticker, how many people are going to buy that? Like there are thousands of people. And they were dealing with that same kind of challenge that we were dealing with. A lot of people asking those same stupid questions, like, where is my order? Where is my order? Where is my order? Like if you hear it enough times, it just becomes
right. Well, and what's interesting is it's not that we have become intolerant and impatient. I mean, we are, but it's because there are others who do this. And so tell us, right, and we've come to expect it, right? Most of our purchases are through Amazon or Alibaba or you know, or any of the major retailers that way, Etsy or things like that as well. So what did you learn from those who are already doing it well? And how did you integrate those kinds of things of what people have come to expect of being able to click a button and find out the status and when something's going to arrive without bothering the retailer themselves? Tell us what you learned from the bigger players.
Well, actually, what the bigger players understand, and most of the typical like funnel builders or store owners don't understand, is that after the purchase, the customer is actively looking for something to do. Because like they made the purchase, they are high and they want to do something. And then they come to the tracking page and like, is it there yet? Is it there yet? Is it there yet? So when the person is idle, what Amazon does and what like our major retail platforms do, they show other products that the person can buy on those specific pages.
Absolutely.
So that creates not only the connection with like this anxiety of the customer, like who's waiting for the package. So they should actively be engaged with something. So they could be engaging with social media of that brand. They could be buying more products, or they could be even leaving reviews if they already received the package. So that's all this functionality was actually added to the tracking page that we created, because upsells are so. Just to throw in a little figure, like direct upsells from tracking pages equal to like from 5 to 10% of the whole order volume, like 5 to 7%.
So 5 to 10% more just on the upsell.
Yes, just on the upsell.
And I would think in many cases it's probably more. You know, for me, the things that I'll buy, you know, I've got a new guitar coming. And I've been online buying every accessory that I can think of to help enhance that experience. But so it's great to offer that as well. But the other part, I mean, let's talk about in terms of retention and the lifetime value of our customers. Because I think this part, it's not just that momentary frustration. When people are frustrated, as you said, they're asking for refunds, they're inundating the company with requests. And then if you can't respond to that request, they get even more frustrated, right? And they feel like, and then they go online and leave a negative review. I mean, it cascades. So many negative things happen where people have to wait. But if they know how long they have to wait and they know the status, then they have peace of mind, don't they?
Yeah, they do have peace of mind. Still, our statistics shows that on average, customers visit those tracking pages 1 or 2 times per day. Most of the time, what they get is the tracking page provided by FedEx, DHL, UPS, or other shipment provider that has literally no mention of which store you ordered that from or which brand.
Yes. Oh my gosh, it is so. It says yes, your item number 5642996W is there, and you have no idea what that item is.
Right.
Tell me how TrackMage works differently in that, because boy, there's a problem that needs to be solved.
Right. So what we do is, well, we still provide the same information that we get from the carriers. Like, don't misunderstand. Like, we're not doing any any changing of the data. So it's still the updates from UPS, but the updates are shown on this page where the logo of the brand is present. All the corporate colors are all their colors. They have their chat widgets in the corner. They can have the upsell widget with all the products that the customer can buy. And additionally, what happens when the customer actually receives the package, they are prompted to leave a review, just like on Amazon or on AliExpress, where you receive a package and you leave a review. So I've seen some automation with like email autoresponders. People configure the automation to just like come in two weeks from the time it was shipped. But what if the person hasn't yet received that package? That happened to me. I ordered a tablet. I received an email like, oh, leave a review. Like, I haven't yet received the thing.
It happens all the time. It happens all the time.
Yeah, with TrackMage, that never happens because we send those updates based on the shipment status. Like, if it was received, we're going to ask for a review, not sooner, not later.
That's great. Well, and I like the idea that the company, the people who subscribe to TrackMage and use that as their service, they can brand, they can skin that page so you see the logo and you remember. Now, let me ask you this, do people still have to check, or is there a proactive outreach from the company says, here's the status, or do we still have to request it?
Actually, we have various notifications that are getting sent to the customer every step of the way of a package. So when the shipment is created, there is an email like, okay, this is your tracking page. This is where you can track the status and see our products, our social media, our everything else. So yeah. And then when the package is in transit, we also send them like, oh, awesome news, your package is on the way to you. After a certain amount of time, if there were no updates, we might send them an email. Like, all those emails are configurable. So you literally, based on your business logic, you can select the ones that you want and just enable them. And
while you're listening to this, if you want to look online, it's TrackMage, TrackMage.com. And it explains the process. And listen, if you're in business and you are selling any kind of products or services, for your customers or clients to be able to access the status, that it's not just taking something off your plate, right? It's not just eliminating the constant calls, which is not to be discounted. That's an important part of it, but their experience that they've come to expect with others, and just to be able to know the status if they're waiting for something, and to know when it's going to be, even if we're just managing expectations during a challenge with the supply chain, just knowing that it's going to be 2 weeks and knowing where it is along the process is important. But even for those who are listening or watching this, who are not, who don't have those kind of physical products, talk to us for a second, Irina, about your learning in terms of where the frustrations come from, and lifetime value of a customer, and what we need to do to make sure that those companies, or that people still have a good feeling about that it wasn't a frustrating process.
Well, yeah, people are, when it comes to first source of frustration is that people don't like to wait. They like immediate gratification. So when we buy something, they literally want to have the thing in their hands in 5 seconds from them. And waiting is this, like, we've all been waiting in lines, or we've been waiting for a doctor's appointment or something else. We know this feeling. So when your customer is ordering from your company, they are experiencing the same thing. And the anticipation, you can literally capitalize on this anticipation, because you can be showing your social media posts to just at least entertain them while we're waiting. So it's kind of this equivalent of lounge music. when
Sure.
when you're waiting for a flight or something like that. Yeah.
So just because you're automating a process doesn't mean that it has to be impersonal, right?
Yes.
Even the automation can be customized. How simple is that process? I know I've talked to some people saying, I know I can do it, but it's just daunting. I mean, the whole idea of trying to set this up and then the funnel, and then when does it go? Do you guys have team members who help the setup process to make it easy for companies to use an outside service like this?
Yes, yes, we do. It depends. Like the thing is, it depends on what system we're using. Sometimes, if there is a direct integration, like with Shopify and WooCommerce, it's literally a couple of clicks and everything is already set up for them. With Shopify, it's like the most sophisticated integration we have. And when it comes to our systems, like funnels, we have team members that can help with that, of course. We have the chat widget where they can contact support, and we're happy to help with anything and everything. I personally sometimes jump on the calls with customers to just see how we're doing. And you mentioned previously that some people in logistics might benefit from this. You're absolutely correct, because we are the only system on the market that shows multiple shipments on the same page. Like, you wouldn't expect that to be a very huge feature, but wholesalers, can you imagine that one customer might be waiting for 100 packages? Can you imagine that customer getting 100 emails about each package?
Right.
Which no, that's not a good
that's the way it works
experience,
with most of us. Yeah, that's the way it works today. So
yeah. So
yeah.
we offer that kind of wholesale functionality where you can literally send your customer one link or one email, and they are going to be able to track all those hundreds of shipments on the same page without having to check like 100 emails.
We're talking to Irina Poddubnaia from Mage. I want to talk for a second about the post-purchase experience. A lot of sales-driven organizations put a lot of effort and time and resources into the sales process itself, right? The highest paid people in any organization oftentimes are the salespeople, the account executives, whatever, because they're the revenue generators. But it's interesting to me how little organizations, companies invest in that post experience, right? Oftentimes the lowest paid individuals are the customer service representatives. There's pressure for them to get them off the phone as quickly as possible. But through a lot of your work, you've really come to recognize the value of what happens after the sale in terms of customer retention and lifetime value. Talk to us a little bit about that.
Yeah. Customer retention is actually the only growth, like very reliable growth lever in your business that you don't have to pay again for. Because most of the businesses, they focus on the top of the funnel and they're like, okay, more leads, more prospects, more visitors, more everything. And those guys, they cost money. But to retain a customer, it's like 5 times cheaper to retain an existing customer than it is to acquire a new one. That's a common truth, but do we act on it? We don't act on it all the time. We just keep pouring like the money on acquiring more customers without servicing the current ones. And with customer retention, like this like slight edge advantage that can put you like everyone has heard that currently the recession is probably starting. So
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, and with that said, a lot of businesses, they're going to be fighting for survival, not for growth. And customer retention is that kind of slight edge that you can add, and it's going to put your business way ahead of your competition. You would imagine that some of those big retailers or some of those, awesome funnel sellers, they're thinking about the post-purchase experience. I have bought from many funnels. They are not. Sometimes I buy a book. I don't hear from them ever. I just receive the book possibly in one or two weeks after that. But still, if they were capitalizing on that kind of experience, that their customers, they would have been more loyal and they would have appreciated that. It's just this like slight personal touch that you add at the end, and it leaves a very satisfied customer in the end.
I think it's a really important point you made. And when you look at the coming recession, and some people might disagree, it's already here, but it's coming. And when it's going to be very difficult to build your business, those who are going to hang on and those who are going to continue to function and be profitable are the ones who have happy customers who come back. It's going to be a very difficult time to build your business. And as Irina said, being able to retain your customers. But if you look at that post experience, and it can be measures of automation if that makes it easier for somebody to check on the status of X or Y. But we got to be clear that when it comes to that post customer experience, it doesn't mean how many more things you're going to try and sell them after the fact.
Yeah.
Right. It doesn't mean that we don't. We make certainly things available, but so often when we buy something, for those who have automated systems, what do they say? That the biggest predictor of future behavior is past behavior, right? The people who are most likely to buy from you are the people who bought from you before. So too often organizations, companies will inundate somebody who bought something with ads 4 times a day to buy more things. And I understand the strategy behind it, but you have to be able to couple that with the fact of knowing that that customer was happy with the purchase that they had, not just the fact that they made the purchase, right?
That's a very good point, because what we discovered through trial and error is that these emails about the shipment status, they are considered transactional. The customers open those emails in 60% of cases, like unheard of deliverability rate, just because people don't expect any marketing or upsells from it. It's a very safe email to open, like, oh, your package is at the post office, come get it. That's exactly the email you would like to receive.
Right, but by definition, you are of service in that moment, right? You are serving your customer. I think it's a great conversation. I think it's a great mindset for organizations. Pay a lot of attention to that post purchase experience. And some of it might be how easy is it to get information? And that's where I think that the product, and we generally don't promote a lot of products on this podcast. I just think it is so important because one of the things I said at the very beginning, I think one of the biggest challenges companies have is how do we compete with multi-billion-dollar companies who have the ability to do things that we don't? And so many times they'll focus on other aspects and differentiation or clever verbiage. This is one of those things that allows organizations, smaller companies, to compete head to head and offer the same kind of post-transaction experience that people have come to expect. So if people want to learn more about TrackMage, how do they get in touch with you?
Please visit our website. It's trackmage.com. Where you will find all the necessary information to sign up.
And we'll have that in the show notes as well.
And I also wanted to give the viewers and listeners today a free resource that we created. Actually, we're writing a book about creating a profitable e-commerce business, but this is an extract that you can get before the book is out.
Great.
So it's all about like increasing your customer retention and getting extra sales as part of this experience. That's going to be provided also in the notes.
Yes.
But again, if you want, I can tell. I can tell the full URL.
Go ahead and tell us what that website is, or that link.
Yes. So it's trackmage.com/flywheel-extra-sales. That's
okay.
That's
so and I've got it here, and I'll put it in the notes as well. It's once again TrackMage, MAGE.com /flywheel-extra-sales. It'll be easier. Look at it in the show notes. We'll have that in there as well. But and I check it out. I think it's something that's so needed, and I think, as they say, necessity is the mother of invention, right? I think it's a clear need in the marketplace for smaller players to be able to compete and offer what other ones expect as well. Thank you for taking the time. I appreciate. I think your English is phenomenal. From somebody who doesn't speak any other language. I thought that was great. Hang on, because you and I will talk on the other side of this. I want to remind everybody that you can pick up a copy of my book, The Morning Huddle. It's upside down here, and all the books that are strategically located next to my head here, if you're watching the video version, on Amazon. Be sure to click to like this podcast, subscribe, leave a comment. That's important as well. And if you want to learn more about my speaking, my consulting, you can look me up at davidavrin.com. Thanks for joining us. A big thanks to Irina for being my guest here today. And on the Customer Experience Advantage podcast, I'm David Avrin. Be good.
This has been the Customer Experience Advantage podcast with David Avrin. Feel free to leave a comment and be sure to hit the thumbs up button. You can listen to past episodes and be notified of future ones by subscribing on your favorite podcast platform. David's popular marketing and customer experience books are available in print, as well as Kindle and audiobook, and published in multiple languages around the world. You can stay connected and learn more at davidavrin.com. Thanks for tuning in.